Award. It always makes me cry. Melanie Greenberg she was the CEO of the Alliance for Peacebuilding. And for many years, she was there for the beginning, helped support it when she was working for another foundation. And I had the pleasure of working day to day with her for 4 years. When she told me she was leaving AFP, the first thing I did, she took me out to coffee, I burst out and cried. And then after I got over the shock, we came back and we said, we have to do something to honor this amazing woman, this amazing human being. She is now the managing director at Humanity United. That's who stole her from us. She's brilliant. She's kind. She is AFP's touchstone still. If I'm struggling with something, it's like, what would Melanie do? Well, I'm gonna call Melanie. And I get off the phone with her and I'm like, oh my gosh, that problem, that makes perfect sense. I say this all the time, everybody should have a Melanie in their life. And I know many of you do, because she is so known and loved in our community. So this award, really quickly, this is how we decided to honor her. When I first came to AFP, it was in early 2015, and we both agreed that conflict in the US was starting to happen. Actually, it wasn't starting to happen, but conflict dynamics were increasing. And we looked at our charter, and AFP's charter said we didn't work in the United States. And we thought, that's ironic, given the fact that we have conflict in our own backyard, and we're not working on it. And we changed that. So this is how we honor Melanie every year. We give out the US Peacebuilding Award of Excellence in Melanie's honor. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you, Liz. The only advantage of Zoom during the pandemic is when you honored me last year, I could ugly cry in my own house. I have to do it here. But thank you, Liz, for your beautiful words, for your brilliant leadership at AFP. And thank you to AFP for this wonderful opportunity this week for our community to come together. It has been pure joy. And thank you to all of you for everything you do every day for peace. As Liz mentioned, conflict in the US is now firmly on the horizon of international peace builders, both those that work abroad and those who are working so creatively and tirelessly here in the US. We're flashing red for every indicator of social fragmentation, polarization, gun violence, and increasingly political violence. Yesterday, Lisa Sharon Harper put forward the argument that the US has never been a peaceful country. But we had a myth of American exceptionalism for so long that somehow we were not subject to the same strains and forces that we saw around us. And for better or for worse, that myth has been completely debunked. But unlike many countries, we don't have an architecture for peace. Indeed, we barely have a vocabulary for peace. And for this reason, I am beyond thrilled that DG Mawn, as the leader of NAFCM, the National Association of Family and Community Mediators, is being honored today with this award in my name. That means so much to me. I first encountered NAFCM more than 20 years ago when the Hewlett Foundation was at the height of its work helping support a nascent conflict resolution field within the US. NAFCM then, as now, was one of the very few organizations working across every region of the US, forming a backbone of community mediation centers that allowed citizens to be heard, to resolve disputes, and to discuss issues that resonated across this entire network. Since then, NAFCM has continued to build an architecture for peace within the US and has continued its role in healing, mediating, and building peace. And they amplified their role as a national leader for peace as election tensions rose in advance of the 2020 election, and joined forces with Mediators Beyond Borders and Prabha, I see here, you're here in the audience as well, to form the Trust Network, a visionary early warning network to prevent election violence. So I am deeply honored that DG Mawn has been chosen as the recipient of the 2023 Melanie Greenberg Award. As anyone who's been in DG's presence knows, his demeanor of openness and compassion welcomes you into his vision, into a spirit of hope, and brings you into the power of conflict transformation. And it really is transformation. This is not just instrumental conflict resolution, it is changing a whole pattern of our society. And DG has ensured that peace and justice never walk far apart during a time of deep polarization and upheaval in the United States. He's truly drawing on the roots of NAFCM, which some of you might not know was enshrined as part of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. So it is committed to justice as well as peace. DG has been a brilliant, patient, creative force for change in communities across our country and has started to build a compelling and inclusive national vision and infrastructure for peace. DG embodies all that it means to be a peace builder in the most courageous and visionary senses of the word. Thank you to DG and NAFCM.
Thank you for that. I'm going to accept that on behalf of our members, our amazing board, and all of the communities that we serve. For those who know me, I can go on a while, so Liz had me type my thoughts down, so I'll be brief. So I will be brief. Certainly want to thank the Alliance for Peacebuilding for this amazing honor for naming the National Association for Mediation to be recipient of the award in your name. You are amazing, and getting this award helps us feel like you see the amazingness in the work we do, our members do, and the change we create in our communities. Every day, NAFCM members and communities across the continent create opportunities for conflict to be heard. When we hear it's never been this extreme, we've not had these conflicts before, our response is, welcome to our world, and let's show you the conflict that is happening. So let's lean into it together. Let's hear from those in conflict. Let's sit with those in conflict. And let's, from a place of curiosity and recognition, respond the way those in conflict need us to respond, which may not necessarily be the way we want to respond. In that, in the work that we do, we go beyond community mediation. We do restorative justice, we do coaching, we do trainings, we do dialogues, we do facilitation. The work of the members that I'm honored to represent and you honor today is really to take justice back, to be created by those who seek justice, because our justice system isn't just for everyone. So we're there to attempt to help people experience the beauty and the feeling of justice. And so I just wanted to share briefly that I didn't know cremation centers existed since 1964. When I worked for Mayor Washington in Chicago, he was the first African-American mayor of a city that wasn't known for being supportive of people of various ethnicities and races. And he asked me to work on the Northwest Side, a predominantly European settled community, to be his representative, to go out and hear the conflict people had with the city, to help them create their responses to that conflict, and in time, move forward together with the vision the mayor had. What I didn't know at that time is Chicago has one of the most premier community mediation centers in the continent. When the mayor died suddenly and I left, so left his initiative. Think of the difference. If we had worked with the Community Mediation Center, that program would have continued. Now I know, and now because of AFP, you know. Another brief story, when I came here and worked for the federal government, I was sent to work through the Southeast to help communities deal with the issues of substance misuse that was ravaging their families, their neighborhoods, their workplaces, their schools. And we would come in, we would facilitate, we would develop plans. What I didn't know is that a NAFCM existed that could have helped me first go to the Community Mediation Center and say, can you connect me with who needs to be leading this? Can you connect me with who needs to be a part of this? Because I'm going to go to who we're funding. And who we're funding is delivering healthcare services. And they may or may not be the best organization to lead this. I also want to remind in a few moments that these centers are barometers of what's going to happen next. When the pandemic came about, it is communication centers that contacted their state and local officials and said, evictions are going to become its own pandemic. We've got to move quickly to make sure people do not lose their homes because they now don't have work. And we have to make sure in those homes they are safe because now their children are getting educated in those homes. They led the fight across the country to move forward to make sure houselessness did not go on the rise. They're also leading the fight with the school board and school community disputes that we see every day. They came and said, we need to develop a national toolkit to be used so that schools can be better connected with and representative of their communities. This is what the centers do for us. So if you're wondering what's happening in Nebraska, contact one of our centers. If you're wondering what's happening in South Dakota, contact one of our centers. In Louisiana, in Texas, in British Columbia, in Alaska, anywhere you may be wondering, contact those centers. Because more times than not, they know what's going on better than the local press, and definitely better than any of us not sitting in those communities. So with that, I just want to encourage you to take the honor of this award and know you now know, community mediation centers are everywhere. Tap into them, knock on their door, say hello. Many of them are watching here through video. Representing you is an honor for me. And now spreading the word that all these folks here will be knocking on your door is an honor for me as well. Know that people have the answers inside them and around them. Let those answers inform you, and in the end, you too will embrace the value and the ethics of community mediation. Because anywhere there is a dispute, disagreement, or disturbance, we are all in that conflict. So let us lean in and choose to be curious. Thank you for bringing our work to everyone's attention, and thank you all.